our heart with you. Welcome to our show today.
Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome.
We are excited. We've got our little animals here.
Uh-oh, we do.
Hi
The
there.
lion is roaring in the jungle.
Buddy.
Little tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't guess, we're going to be talking a little bit about Africa today.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm really excited. A while back, we had interviewed Simona and Hastings from Helping Hands Orphanage. They are in Malawi, Africa, and they have an orphanage there. They have a medical clinic there. They're helping to feed approximately 500 children as much as they can when they can. And I think about 300 go-go's, which are grandparents, grandmas and grandpas.
Mhm.
And they're widows, they're younger children. The parents of these kids that are orphans have fallen to AIDS and malaria and diseases that we have medications for here in America, so it helps sustain life much longer. But over there, it's not so much. So they're from Malawi, Africa. He is in the southern part of Solo area.
Blantyre?
Yeah, well, Blantyre is the capital, so
Okay.
he's about an hour and a half
Okay.
from there.
Okay.
He's south of that. So anyway, today we're going to have our show. I videoed Hastings and Simona. Had a really wonderful conversation with them last night. They're 8 hours ahead of us, so it's kind of hard to plan our show and have them on it at the same time.
Yeah.
So anyway, today we're going to have a question and answer time, and I got questions from Hastings and answers from him and Simona. So kind of want to give an update.
Yes.
And also an update on their school that they're trying to build for the children over there, which is a very essential thing to get the children out of poverty.
Yes.
And the school is called Living Stones Academy.
Yes. And this is how we met.
Yeah, this is how Shirley and
yeah.
I actually met
Yeah.
through her friend Shelley,
Mm-hmm.
and Shelley knew of Hastings, and then Hastings told Shelley about me,
Yeah.
and then I met Shelley, and then we all got together,
Yes.
and so
And we're all educators.
Right,
so
we're all educators at one
we
point
understand
in our
the
lives.
importance of
Yeah, I taught
education.
kindergarten and preschool, and so it's real important that we want to get across about this place. I've been myself personally to Helping Hand Orphanage. This little thing doesn't want to stay on. And probably 3 times I've been to the orphanage. I've done a medical clinic there with another team called Project Compassion. And I have worked with Hastings and Simona with the orphanage, feeding the children and seeing how they're developing it. So today we're going to have a question and answer time and an update.
Yes.
And revisit the school again. So,
Awesome.
all right.
I'm excited because I haven't gotten to hear an update recently. He's so faithful about sending pictures and videos
Yes.
to us to but there's always questions because we're not there with him.
Yes.
So it's nice to be able to have that connection.
Yes,
So we
it
can
is.
find, answer our questions that we have
Yes.
too. So Sandy, tell me about the Purpose for a Girls Dorm. You had mentioned he was thinking about putting a girls' dorm in.
Right. Right now, he's got the foundation down, the walls are all up, and the roof is on Livingstone Academy.
Yes.
Okay? That is done. He still has a lot more to go with it. But there is a real issue in a lot of developing countries for girls. And the reason is to get to a lot of these primary and secondary schools, they have to walk quite a long ways.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's 2 hours. And the unfortunate thing is sometimes these little girls, young women, trying to get to school, they get mugged or raped. And also when they have their monthly,
Yes.
it's a real issue because they don't have what we have here in America for our girls. And so they have to stay home for a good week or so out of the month, which means they miss out on a lot of school. And after a while, it just seems kind of hopeless.
Yes.
So they quit. And so what that does is it leads them into prostitution or becoming an early child bride, which is very sad. So it just keeps that poverty, that, girls in a place where they can't get an education.
Oh.
So one of the things that Hastings was talking to me about was to build also a girls' dormitory next to the school, which would house girls, and they would have dorm mothers so that they would be protected, and they would have also a security guard. He has a security guard already for the school.
Awesome.
To kind of man it, to make sure everything is going to be okay. And in doing this, you're going to keep the girls in school because they are going to be right next to the school. And like I said, many of these children are orphans. And the grandparents or aunties, uncles, which are very aged.
Yes.
70s, 80s. I mean, some of them can't even do a lot of stuff, but they still live with the kids. So this would help take some of that pressure off of the elderlies, that they call them. And the girls would have a warm place to sleep. And I think eventually they want to do a dorm for the boys. But it's easier for the boys to get to school. They can protect themselves more. They don't have to deal with the physical aspect that a girl does. So he really wanted to see a girls' dorm built next, alongside the thing.
And you had mentioned that you were going to teach them how to.
Yes, I told Simona, I had a conversation with her last night, and I have a dear missionary friend that works in Mexico, just over the border. And her husband's a nurse. Her name is Lori, his name is Chris. And they have taught their pupils to sew, and they're making themselves money. They're being self-sustaining. And one of the projects that I'm having her work on is washable pads. So we get enough donations to get little girls' underwear of all sizes, and these pads are made in such a way that they can Velcro onto the little girls' underwear, and the pads are made so that they won't soak through. And it's wonderful because they can bring them home and wash them and let them dry and wear them the next day. So they would have 4 or 5 of these pads in a little bag that they could have for themselves. And so I've got this project going right now to see if we can get this done. And then once I want to go, Lord willing, this summer, they have trundle sewing machines over there.
Yes.
Hastings does at the Hope and Joy Clinic.
Yes.
And they've already made things to be self-sustainable, to sell different kinds of stuff that they've made. And this is something that they can learn to make.
Yes.
To help the hundreds of girls that will need them.
Well, and if you're in a dorm, then everybody can, it's different bringing it home and trying to wash it,
Right. So this will be really good.
Yes.
So I'm hoping this will happen. So that was one of the things.
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, where are children currently getting education?
Well, some of the children are walking several hours. Like I said, it's nothing for some kids to walk 2 hours to get to school. Little ones, all the way up to secondary ones.
Wow.
And so, but right now, the younger ones are being schooled under the trees close to Hope and Joy Clinic, and
And tell everybody what Hope and Joy Clinic is.
Hope and Joy Clinic is a first aid clinic that Hastings, through donations of a wonderful family, built it. And it has, I'll get to that one later.
Okay.
But it has some really wonderful things with it. But that's where the Helping Hands Orphanage is actually there. That's where the sign is, and that's where the gardens are, and the well is at, and the chickens and all that stuff. So it's all in that one little area.
Okay. Is the school near there too?
No, it's a little bit further away. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So right now, the younger ones are being taught. Simona, his wife, she works with some of the disabled children. She actually does signing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she's working, getting her diploma in teaching, but she teaches preschool and the younger kids in the secondary, and they divide the children up according to their age groups, and they just circle around on the ground under a tree. That's their schoolhouse, and the donations that come in through HHO, Helping Hands Orphanage, they're able to buy pencils, pens, rulers, paper, things that the kids would need to, to do stuff. They teach them the basics, to read, to write, to spell, to do math, and Bible. The Bible is something that's important to them, that they learn about the love of God, their Father. So that is part of what
Beautiful.
they teach them. Hastings has he has a first degree in history and Bible knowledge. So he teaches also, and they have helpers that work with them, 2 other people. So that's what they're kind of doing right now, and so that's where they're teaching.
And some of the Bogos work within this ministry?
Yeah, they volunteer. Whatever, they're very eager to volunteer. In fact, at Hope and Joy Clinic, they have, through their donations, they have hired someone to be their security guard.
Oh, very nice.
So he lives there.
Oh, very nice.
And that way he's protecting the stuff there. So that's how they get a little bit of funds to help.
Awesome.
The people doing that. So
good. All right. So tell about teachers.
Okay.
You mentioned some.
Yeah. When the school gets up and running, they of course want to have qualified teachers that have their diplomas.
So the Livingstone's Academy will be for high school.
No,
No.
It's gonna have 2 rooms. They want to expand it.
Okay.
So it will start with secondary.
Okay.
Which is, the beginning of the school for kids. And then, let me look here really quick. It was, I want to quote this correctly. Now that I want to find it,
We'll probably run into it.
Yeah, a little bit later.
Yeah,
let's go.
Okay. All right. So tell about the teachers.
So anyway, as the school grows, they want to get, qualified teachers to teach, the grades. And they're broken up in 2 grades. They're broken up from 6 years old to 10, 11. And then that's the primary. And then secondary school is ages 12 up to 20.
Oh,
and you have to understand that the kids start late.
Yes.
In school. It's not like here.
Because they don't have a lot of preschool.
Exactly.
Right?
They don't have any.
Yeah. Okay.
And many of them have no school or have never been to school because of lack of funds. So that's how it's divided over there. So once they once the first block of school, which they're working on right now, gets to the point where they're going to hire teachers, they want to do things to make themselves sustainable so that they can, continue on without us. So that's something down the road.
Yes.
Because we're still working on building the school. So yeah.
Exciting. Okay. Now, salaries for teachers. Tell me about this. So you're looking for some qualified.
Yeah, so we're
Credentialed
talking
teachers.
about credentialed,
Mhm.
qualified teachers,
Okay.
and they can make up to $300 a month.
Oh, good.
So that's kind of what their average is. So, like I said, if you want it to be a sustainable working school within country, there has to be ways to, make money in order to pay the salaries.
Yes.
So this is a stepping stone to get to that point.
Okay.
So
this is going to be an accredited school, so they can move on to university. Is that
yes,
what they're hoping to do?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what their goal is working
Yes.
toward. Very good. Okay. Let's see, tell me some details about running water, septic tanks,
All this kind of stuff.
necessities
Yeah.
of life.
Yeah. So to finish building this school, the one that they have right now, I don't know if this includes the dorm for the girls. Most likely, I think it does. But anyway, they want to have running water. They want to have electricity. They're going to be putting in septic tanks. So then they're going to have to burrow down to get a well, so they can have running water.
Good.
And each school would have, well, the one school right now would have 2 separate bathrooms with 2 toilets in each, one for the boys, one for the girls, and then a teacher's bathroom.
Okay.
So, and then the same thing in the dorm for the girls. There would be 2 separate bathrooms. Well, they would just be for girls, but there'd be like 4 bathrooms.
Mhm.
And then the teachers would have one.
Oh, good.
So there'd be running faucets, sinks and stuff like that. And they would need, also in the girls' dorm, would need beds and mattresses,
Okay.
and those kinds of things that are going to be needed to be furnished in there. And the school, of course, is going to need like chairs,
Yeah.
tables,
Yes. Yeah.
blackboards, school supplies, learning aids for the teachers. So that's something that is, going to be a progression, just slowly right now. They're working on that. So, like I said, they have the building is up. It's got the walls up. It's got the ceiling, the roof on.
Right?
But they have to put the ceiling in, the floors down, electricity, the septic tanks, all
Okay.
that. And right now, looking at some of this, it's about $67,000.
Okay.
And that's to finish this school.
Wow, that's
and,
awesome.
And I believe to do the dorm for the girls. And furnish it. And that's not including, well, I think he did put in there for the teacher's salary.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's just an estimate.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's where they're heading.
That's doable.
Yes.
Yes, very good. Okay, so security for school and Hope and Joy Clinic.
Okay. Hope and Joy Clinic was a clinic that was put together on Helping Hands Orphanage land. Simona and Hastings purchased the land from their wedding money, and they have put a huge garden in. Some other people did donations and burrowed a well, and now they have running water. They have a chicken area where they raise chickens. For food for the kids, for eggs on the side.
Mm-hmm.
They have rabbits, and I believe they start in goats.
Yeah.
So they're trying to become self-sustainable, and then they have 2 or 3 Trundle sewing machines on the one side of Hope and Joy Clinic, where they're making products that they're trying to sell. So they're already working at being sustainable with that. They have enough donations where they have 1 doctor, 1 nurse, like a janitorial person, and a security guard that live there at Hope and Joy Clinic, and they are able to, get some funds to them to sustain them for the time
That's
that they're there.
wonderful.
And so they do first aid, kind of medical care, and prep them or help them before they would have to go to a
Yeah,
hospital.
triage.
Well, yeah, triage, because many times things can be helped
Yes.
and not need to go to the hospital, and because they can't get to the hospital, they get an infection or or something happens. So it's wonderful they have a doctor now and a
Yes.
nurse.
And I hear the hospital is like 2 hours away.
Yeah, it's quite a ways away.
Yeah, so they don't have anything.
And no, and they don't have cars.
Right?
Some have bicycles, some have motorcycles, but Hastings does have a van, and he has used that on occasion to get people to the hospital. Let's see. So I wanted you to remember that the Hope and Joy Clinic, which is part of the Helping Hands Orphanage, and the school that's being built, they both have security guards. So people can monitor and really protect it.
Good.
And also, any meds or things that the doctors and nurses need, they're in a room that's got bars and it's under lock and key.
Good.
So it's very well protected. So anything that you donate to HHO, it gets divided amongst whether it's food, medicine, school supplies, whatever it is to help the orphans and the go-go's, the
Wherever it's
grandparents.
needed,
Yes,
yeah.
where it's needed.
Good. Okay. That's so exciting.
Isn't it?
Oh my
There's
goodness.
just so much going
God
on.
is moving right there.
Well, I had to pause for a second. I was telling Simona and Hastings last night, and we were laughing hysterical at one point. When I went to go meet them the first time, I went with a nurse practitioner, and then I think the other one was another one was a nurse practitioner, or she worked in the emergency ward. She was an amazing nurse, if anything. Jennifer and Dawn, and we went to Blantyre, Malawi first, and we did 2 days of clinics out in villages way out.
Wow.
And we ran it. I got to run triage, which was quite amazing to me. Anyway, so then we met Hastings. When I first met Hastings in 2015, he had a little building that he rented that had holes in the roof. He was renting his cooking pots to cook the meals for the kids.
Oh, wow.
And when it rained inside his storage.
Oh.
And it was just a little old building. In 5 years, we just started laughing. All three of us were just giggling and laughing with joy because in 5 or 6 years,
look at what God has done.
Through the donations
Yes.
of you wonderful people who have given out of your hearts, there is Hope and Joy Clinic, which now there's a doctor and a nurse and medicine, first aid treatment to help the people in these underdeveloped places that have nothing.
Right.
There's not a grocery store in sight. There's not a hospital for hours away. Okay, so we're talking way out, in villages. Okay, and now they have a sustainable garden that grows everything. They had a well dug, so now they have running water. And they have, like I said, these trundle sewing machines, so they can sew and make things and sell them, and so they can make money for their orphanage. The children have a place to come until the school gets built to do school, or to be around someone that can help them and help understand their needs. And now they're building a school. And then Hastings started laughing. He goes, "Oh, in our house, look at our house." And now they have this wonderful house through donations. And it's like in 6 years, it'll be 6 years this September coming up, 2021, that I have known Hastings and Simona. And when I saw their place, it was a little room that had nothing much in it, a little heat and stove thing to cook on. They had to go use the private privy outside, and now they have a home that has electricity and flushing toilet, and they have a storage area by their house, and now they're dreaming one of these days They got it kind of started, a dormitory for missionaries if they come.
Yes.
So it's amazing when God gives you a dream.
Yes.
And you don't know how it's going to function, and you're in sub-Saharan desert Africa. Okay? And you meet someone.
Right.
And then they meet someone. Pretty soon you've got hundreds of people you're meeting that are giving towards your dream.
Right.
It was his dream.
Yeah.
His own wife was an orphan with 2 other siblings. And they met. What a better couple to be together. Now they have 2 beautiful kids, Hope and Grace.
Oh.
My little granddaughters, I call them. They're such sweethearts. And look what they're doing.
Good.
It's just so amazing how far they've come.
Yeah, whatever you could put a dream up in your mind, God can accomplish.
Yes.
Yeah, within His
Where there's
will,
a will,
right?
there's a way.
Yes.
So I had
Very
to put
good.
that little plug in.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Okay, so did we do the feeding program update?
No, we have not.
Okay.
So that hasn't changed too terribly much because there's so many other needs too. And this is where it breaks my heart. They feed them twice a week. So they can't do it every day because they just don't have the means.
Okay.
Okay? And they have sema. Sema is corn flour that they mix with water. And they sometimes provide slices of egg or veggies that they have to put on there. They also do cook, they get beans when they can, they're kind of expensive, and they cook that with them because I was telling Hastings that children from the age of 1 or birth, whenever they can start eating 1 to 5, they need protein for their brain cells to develop. And that's one of the issues is in underdeveloped countries where there's not a lot of food, the children's brains don't develop. And so they can't function or learn like they should or could have.
Right.
So we're trying to push more protein, and so then he has the chicken farm. So I think he's trying very hard to implement all these things that he can to do that. And so and then there's a lot of times siblings. Now just imagine this for a minute. Your 11-year-old son lost his parents. Okay, you're gone. You passed away from AIDS. And you don't even have a grandma. You don't have an auntie or uncle. And you got 2 little siblings. One's 4 and one's 8. What are you going to do? So you've got siblings, young, that are caring for their little siblings.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, how does that, think about that in your own mind. How does that work? Well, that's why there's so much starvation and death, because they do what they can. You know, some of them have gardens. Some of the go-go's, they have gardens, but they're old and it's hard. So one thing is that if we can get bags of corn and fertilizer to them, and then the younger help the older plant corn, because the maize is what is their stable food, sema, and then they can add stuff to it.
Okay.
You can add rice to it. Sometimes they add a little rice with sugar.
Oh.
And we look at that and go, ooh. Well, you want to eat dirt or bugs? And that's what happens sometimes. I mean, that's the reality of life.
Yeah.
There in many developing countries, okay? So that hasn't changed. That's something that he and I really want to see change, where the children are getting at least 2 meals a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
And so that's something that is going to have to develop, and we got to find, you know, ways to do that. Maybe sustainable seeds.
Can they grow beans?
There in Malawi, I asked him that. There where he is at, what grows the best is tea.
Oh.
Beans do not grow well, and corn. Tea and corn where they live
Huh.
is got the best soil for that, not for beans.
Oh boy. Okay.
And so beans are a little bit more expensive to buy, but when they can, they do go in and they buy in town to implement that in there. So I know there is peanut butter sticks that some companies have made where it has a high protein and it doesn't have to be refrigerated. It's in like something that they can eat off of for days.
Oh.
So
Wow.
there's a lot of things I think we can look into to see to make it more fruitful, so to speak, for them for food. So that's an area that really needs to develop more.
Awesome. Wow. Awesome. Okay, drill wells. Tell me about this.
Okay.
More wells.
Yeah.
Woo!
So again, through donations, they were able to burrow a well deep down and get running water at the garden where the Hope and Joy Clinic is. So many times they have to walk miles. I mean, you see it on National Geographic, women carrying things on their heads to go get water. And some of the places where they get water is
not sanitary.
Well, it's disease infected.
Yeah.
And so another thing to do is, my hope is when I go there, is to teach them about cleanliness and how you can clean the water, you know, so it can be drinkable. But drilling these wells, there's been a lot of organizations that have gone over in Africa. I've seen it where you see these pump kind of like wells on the side of the road.
Okay.
And they have gone in and burrowed wells and found it, you know, but when they break down, who fixes it? So it's the maintaining of it too is an important thing that we need to learn. So he's looking forward to, of course, they're going to have to burrow down for a couple wells, probably for the dormitory for the girls and for the school, and then septic tanks.
Oh yeah.
You know, if they're going to have flushing toilets, but most likely, if there was any tissue being used, it would go in a garbage can.
Yeah.
You know, because we don't want that to fill up in a septic tank over there. So those are things that they're looking forward to doing, coming up soon, hopefully. If the funds come in, is drilling the wells. That is essential because water is life, then food.
Yeah.
And along with that is the spiritual care.
Yes.
And Hastings and Simona are very godly Christians and love the Lord and trust the Lord, and God has worked with them and they with him, and I've seen them just go through such hardships, but yet the smile. Yeah. Every time I see him, he's got a smile, and it makes me get a smile, and it makes me cry because I feel like I live in luxury in my humble little house I have here in San Marcos. But it's just amazing to see the joy on their faces. And so when you meet the physical needs of a person, it opens their heart to hear more about God the Father and how he cares for them. So it's real important to see these wells develop and to bring fresh, clean water. Everyone deserves that.
Sure.
And food, more food for the health of them. And if you've got a full belly, then you can listen in school and you can learn and not hear the grumbling of your stomach.
Right.
So that's why I think it's important that we get this food program going for them with more funds so that they can feed them twice a day, 7 days a week.
Awesome.
Because they have many volunteers.
Oh,
so many volunteers.
Yes. It sounds like the Go-Go's are so active and involved and with a willing heart, you know.
When I have ever come, these little grandmas, they're like way older than me, and they get out there and dance and perform this beautiful dance to just say, thank you, we love you, thank you for coming, and they sing and rejoice. Yes. And I'm like, Sandy, don't say another complaint about your knee hurting or your back hurting. These little women and these little men, and I don't say it disrespectfully, is because they've just been malnurtured.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're just small people
Yes.
in stature, but they're mighty.
Yes.
They get out there with a hoe and they clean. And oh, that's another thing I want to say real quick. Hastings teaches the orphans. You go help the elderlies.
Good. Good.
And so you'll see them go out and they'll like get a little broom and sweep their dirt floor till it is shiny clean, and they'll hang up their clothes for them on the
Good.
line.
Awesome.
So he's teaching the children.
Good.
It's not that you always get, you got to give.
Give, right.
So it's a two-way street. It's beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. We have to help each other. Right.
Yes.
Awesome. Right.
How you doing back there,
Right
Lion?
Good job. All right. School fencing, play area. Wow.
So I was asking him about that, and he said, for right now, no, there's no playground, there's none of that. But it's going to come. They do want to eventually put a big, wall around to protect the facilities.
Yeah.
And they want to also put, they have, balls and different stuff, so they will have activities outside to do. But my dream... My dream is to get some kind of a playground out there for that school.
Yes.
That's my dream. Because kids love to play.
Yes.
And it would be fun even if you were able to just get a climbing apparatus of some sort or whatever. Anything for the kids to play and have fun on.
Yeah.
Balls, hula hoops,
Sure.
jump ropes, whatever it may be, because they need the physical activity too.
Yes.
They need to be kids.
So true.
They need to be kids.
So true. That's
those things are
so
down the
much fun.
road. It's a need, but down the road.
Yeah. Awesome. So exciting. Okay, so some long-range goals.
One of their greatest goal is to become self-sustaining.
Yes.
They want to be able, all their workers and teachers would be there in country that are trained there, that would get their degrees there and work there. And right now it's through donations with the doctor and the nurse, which is wonderful. But and he feels the same way, that he wants to get it to where they can take care of themselves, and I believe that will happen as time goes on and they're able, like when I went 2 years ago with Project Compassion, we did a medical clinic, and I was just shocked to see how in a year or two how it developed so nicely, the gardens and everything. And then I saw they had the trundle sew machines, and the people made jewelry. So we all bought stuff from them.
Sure.
So that money went back into the pot
Sure.
to help keep things going.
Yeah.
And they made, beautiful things, They got material. This isn't one of them, but they got material, and they designed things, and they painted on it, and they sold it. They made all kinds of little ceramic craft things. And so they are creative, and they want to sustain themselves.
Yes.
So that is a long-term goal. The other goal is they want a second school building. So let this be the, little primary school. And I even said to him, I'd like to see a preschool started.
Yes.
And those are very functional. And if you get a little preschooler in, they can have breakfast every morning before they start school.
Sure.
And then they can learn principles, and you just teach them godly characteristics, and they learn they learn how to love school. We in America, sometimes just throw school to the side. Some people do, because they get caught up in stuff, drugs or alcohol. And it's very sad to see that, because most likely they could be an inventor.
Yes.
Or the next president, or, why not dream big? Why not think that? And I just think, they don't have a choice. They don't have the opportunities. So I'm hoping to see high school kids come alongside Helping Hands Orphanage, and maybe do fundraising in your school to help the students over there.
Right.
Students helping students.
Yeah.
Right?
That's Shelley's idea.
Exactly.
Yes.
Shelley's idea was that, and I love her
I
idea.
love it.
It's just let's just get kids helping kids.
Yes.
And get people involved, because we want to make a difference in the world. Well,
Yes.
it's one person at a time,
It sure
and
is.
by God's leading, and it'll happen.
Yes.
And it will happen.
I think about in my mind, these are the programs we want to support.
Yes.
The ones that God has His hand on the program, and it's real people with a true heart for the Lord, willing spirit to serve the community, the village.
Yes.
And you really have to search it out to find these kind of opportunities to donate to, because there's a lot of people out there that will say this and that, but they're not doing what you
Right.
think they're doing.
And I've been there firsthand.
Yeah.
The organization, and we'll have it at the end of when you watch this program, you'll see where you can donate if you choose to donate.
Mm-hmm.
They are a 501c, and they have been doing it for 30 years, and they help missionaries around the world. It's called Mission Enablers International, and it's in Arkansas, and they make sure that the funds go directly to where they need to go, and then Hastings gets them and then uses it as he needs. You get a tax deduction at the end of the year, so it's legal, and it's up to board. Your money's protected.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes we have donated to places and they've been a scam.
Sure.
And I hear that, and I understand that.
It breaks your heart.
It does, but I have seen where his money is
Yes.
going.
Yes.
I have firsthand been in the orphanage, been in their home, been in their van,
Yes.
done medical clinics.
Yes.
I can tell you that when people donate through MEI, that it definitely gets where it needs to go, and it is helping children, hundreds of children. I think it's $15 a month can sponsor a child.
Wow.
And that would give them
Wow.
school supplies and help to feed them. And so it's just so important that you think if you want to do something with your money.
Yes.
I know that the Bible talks about, from a spiritual aspect, where your treasures are. That's where your heart is. Yes. Your treasures are. I'm kind of paraphrasing it backwards, but if you do the things that are spiritual to help God's kingdom, then that's everlasting.
Yes.
And it's not wrong to have nice stuff, but if that's all you do, then that's it. It's over. Once you're gone, that's it. But if you do to the least of them, you've done them unto Him.
Right.
Whether it's a cup of water or a piece of bread.
Yes.
And I'll never forget giving a little old lady there a pair of shoes one time. She walked like 3 days, and she was so thirsty, so I gave her my shoes because hers were torn. And she just so happened to fit my shoes, and I gave her a cold glass of water with in a container with stuff to hydrate her, because I knew she was so dehydrated. And I thought to myself, God help me not to be selfish, because I am selfish at times. And I just think, Lord help me, because these people are in such need. And so that's where your heart is. If that's where your heart is, that's where your treasure is. And it's everlasting. And you are doing it for God. Okay? It's not for them to have fancy cars and big houses. It's just to feed a little child or to protect them from harm. And there's so much of that nowadays. And I just tell you that this is an organization. I can't even talk between my tears. Thank you, sister. Oh, man. That you can trust. And if you need to, if you want to call me, I'll leave my phone number at the end of this message so that you can, because it is an amazing organization that is helping all these little orphans and all the go-go's. So.
And just think, as the kids grow up, they're going to come back and minister to their village.
Exactly.
And make it amazing.
If you educate a girl, and I'm not saying anything against the men, but if you educate a girl in these villages, they will come back and try to make sure that the other kids get educated. Because many times the men go on to big jobs or something once they get an education. They don't always come back. It's not that they're bad or evil. It's just the way it is. And I'm telling you, if you have whatever you spend having Starbucks, that could save a child's life.
Right. I know you think about it. It's like,
It
wow.
is. It is.
$5 for a, one of those yummy drinks.
Yeah.
But, I mean, 3 of those and you're taking care of the child for
exactly.
a whole month.
A month. So anyway, didn't mean to break down in tears and fumble over my words, but this is so dear to my heart. I love Hastings and Simona so much, and I wanted to give an update of what they're doing. At the end of this, you're going to see about a 15-minute video of what's going on and what they're doing.
Okay.
And there'll be also information about where you can donate.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for
joining
listening.
Us. God bless
God
you.
bless. Have a good day.
I just wanna say, Baba, thank you. I just wanna say, Baba, thank you.
Thank you, Donald, for the school surprise.
I just wanna say,
Malawi is one of the poorest countries in Africa. It has a population over 18 million. Out of 18 million population, 1 million of the people or of the kids are orphans. The living standard among Malawians, almost half of the population lives below poverty line. This is because of HIV/AIDS, early pregnancies, diseases like malaria, and the early school dropouts. So these have actually affected and continue to affect the lives of many Malawians. And kids are very at a disadvantaged side. So I am Hastings Kachomba Wanali, Director at Helping Hands Orphanage. The orphanage has 450 kids with 191 widows, with 37 volunteers that work on daily basis. Helping Hands Orphanage has come in to provide education to the orphans that are so vulnerable. Actually, we believe that education is the bright future for every generation, for every country. So what we actually do at the orphanage, we provide school supplies. For instance, notebooks, pencils, rulers, mathematical calculators, and other basic materials.
thank you, thank you.
We do this to equip these kids for their education. So currently, we have seen a good number of the kids being enrolled into the university and even secondary schools, which was not there before. Most of the classes that we do at Helping Hands, we actually do them under the tree. And because of this, when rains come, life becomes so difficult. When it shines hard, life again becomes so difficult. Not only this, but we have got other kids that actually travel miles and miles away just to acquire education. And these kids meet a lot of challenges. For instance, distance itself. And when it comes to girl child, during their menstruation period, life becomes so hard because they don't attend to classes. Not only that, but also because of the distance, these girl children get raped on the way. And sometimes they come home tired. Therefore, they don't even study. And even when they get to school, most of the times, they get there so late. And the teachers always send them back home. And these challenges actually disturb their education. Upon looking at these challenges, Helping Hands Orphanage saw it wise to build a secondary school just within the community. As you can see behind me, we are planning actually to have 4 learning rooms, classrooms, that is, for our kids. Not only that, but also we are planning, because we've got enough land here, we are planning to build a laboratory, a computer room, a library, 3 or 4 houses of staff members. Actually, we're also planning to build dormitories for girls and boys. These hostels will be able to accommodate these orphans within the school, and that will help them actually to acquire education so easily. This is the inside of our school block that contains 2 learning classrooms. As you can see, we have made a tremendous progress on the school project. What is remaining now is to fix in the windows, the doors, and the floor. We have to put in the floor. Not only that, but also we are fighting so hard to make desks for the learners. So this school, known as Living Stones Academy, will help to educate very neediest lives in this community. So continue keeping Helping Hands Orphanage in prayer, because we believe that education is the bright future for each and every generation, for each and every country. So because these orphans actually come from very, very poor families, and most of the kids actually have child-headed families, we make sure that, again, we provide food to keep them in school, because they can't acquire education while they are hungry. So Helping Hands has stepped in, providing food to these kids so that they can be able to concentrate in their studies. Thank you, dear friends, for the support to Helping Hands Orphanage. This is the only meal that many of our kids can get in a day and they go to sleep. So your support is helping us to save these neediest orphans and the widows. Thank you so much. And with this program, we have seen a lot of kids performing quite well. because hunger-related issues like malnutrition actually has been reduced. So apart from buying food for them, the orphanage ventured into farming. We are planting these vegetables to feed the kids and the gogos and to sell. And it is helping us to generate some funds for the orphanage. We plant different crops, for instance, corn and different types of vegetables for consumption among the kids and even the widows, because we're also keeping the widows who most of the times are guardians of these kids. Not only that, but also we are raising chickens, because we know chickens are so easy to keep. And these chickens provide us with eggs. And these eggs are used again to feed the kids. And they're giving them proteins. So we are still fighting all angles to make sure that our kids are well equipped for their future. Not only in the education sector, but also in the farming sector. Because not all the kids are able to go into the university. So those that fail to go into the university actually are equipped in other areas like farming. Just to add on that, Helping Hands Orphanage is also training other kids in sewing clothes. So far, we are able to sew or to sew clothes for the orphans within the orphanage and made by the orphans themselves for their fellow orphans. Some of the clothes that we sew actually are sold out to the communities. In that way, the orphanage is able actually to bring some little cash to support the daily activities of the orphanage. Just to go further on that, Helping Hands Orphanage also conducts outreach clinics. Our kids and widows have been dying from very treatable diseases like malaria because of distance. So Helping Hands Orphanage has actually opened up a clinic where it is providing free treatment to the orphans and the widows. And the communities around are able to pay a little something to keep the orphanage going. So we are urging all our dear friends actually to continue supporting the orphanage. The work that each one of us is doing is helping many, many neediest lives. May the good Lord bless you all. Thank you.